Hey YouTube, it's Justin here, aka Demonic Sweaters, and welcome to another drum vlog. This is episode number 30, and right away let's just address the elephant in the room here, which is the quality of this video. The reason why it looks the way it looks is I'm actually recording this on a VHS-C palm quarter, a Panasonic palm quarter, and if you don't know what VHS-C is, this is an outdated technology that uses little tapes like this. These are essentially VHS tapes, they're just smaller in size, and the camera itself is pretty compact. It's not gigantic, but it's not really small by today's standards either. But you know, it's actually pretty cool. It's a pretty small size, and I just always love the look of VHS. And I used to have one very similar to this one that I'm shooting on right now, but I got rid of it for some reason. I always regretted getting rid of it. And one of these popped up on eBay for like 30 bucks that was working, and I figured I'd pick it up. I still had to buy another charger and a battery for it, which, you know, a lot of times is the case when you find these older camcorders out there. But believe it or not, you can still buy brand new batteries and chargers for these things on Amazon. So anyway, I wanted to get that out of the way first. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about here, well, one of many, is what I'm holding in my hands. And these right here are the Tommy Lee Ahead. Let's see if we can get all that in the frame there. Tommy Lee Ahead drumsticks. And these things I got them as a Christmas gift, early Christmas gift. And these things are gigantic. They are very long and very thick. Just to give you some kind of comparison here, I have the other Ahead drumsticks that I normally use. These are 2Bs, which are pretty big. They're pretty much, you know, one of the fattest sticks you can get. But if I hold these butt to butt on the back here, and I go up here, you can see that the Tommy Lee signature stick is a good half of an inch longer than a standard 2B Ahead drumstick. Now, if you're not familiar with these Ahead drumsticks, these are synthetic sticks. They're not made out of wood, they're made out of like a metal, I think they're aluminum actually on the inside, and they have like this kind of plastic sleeve that goes around them. And another thing here that I just noticed that I wanted to mention is the length, the additional length is actually coming from the grip part of the Tommy Lee stick. You can see that right there. Well, actually it's hard to see on this VHS camera, but actually the grip, the handle grip goes about a half an inch longer than the front of the stick. Like if I line up where those grips are, then the tip is actually right at the same spot. So that's actually kind of nice in a way, because a lot of times my problem with these Ahead drumsticks is my finger would be right where the seam is, like where I'm holding the stick, which I kind of got used to and it doesn't bother me that much now, but in the beginning it did. But another thing with these, I wasn't sure at first. I was like, are these things too long to use? Will they be annoying? But I played with them a bit yesterday, and actually I quite like them. They're pretty heavy, which I don't mind. I like a heavy stick. When I'm talking about sticks, I'm talking about sticks for electronic drums. These Ahead drumsticks, I think, are the perfect sticks for electronic drums. I don't like them quite as much on acoustic, though I do use them occasionally there. But on electric drums, they're really good because they absorb a lot of the shock you get from hitting rubber cymbals. And, you know, they just are a lot easier on the hands than a traditional wood stick. And they just, you know, they look cool too, I think. But back on what I was saying, my opinion of these Tommy Lee signature sticks is, yeah, they're very heavy, they're very long, but one good thing about having a very long stick is you don't have to reach as far. If you're going to hit a cymbal or a, you know, china or something that's far away, you know, you can keep your arms a little closer to you and you don't have to reach quite as far because you have that half of an inch extra on the end there. But I'm going to keep playing with them. I haven't tried to do anything really fast with them yet, but you know, I think they're really good. All of the Ahead sticks, they're really, you know, they're really good value because yes, they cost more. They're about $30, I think. I'll post a link down below. But they last pretty much forever. I mean, even if you're using them on acoustic drums, it's very hard to break these things. They just are very strong, and they're just really well made. And plus, you're not, you know, you're saving trees. You know, you're using one pair of sticks that lasts like 10 times as long as a wooden pair, and no trees are being destroyed to make these sticks. Even though, yeah, they have plastic components on them, but they're not fully plastic, and they're recyclable too, as far as I know. That's what I've heard. So yeah, very cool, these Ahead drumsticks, and I really like the Tommy Lee signature. They have a few different signature models out there, I know Lars Ulrich is also a player of these, and more people seem to be using these sticks just because they're a unique feel, and they kind of feel like wood. They actually kind of sound like wood when you click them. Doesn't sound like metal. Something about the plastic over the aluminum gives them kind of a wood sound. And the tip actually doesn't, if you're playing them on acoustic drums, it doesn't sound exactly like a nylon tip either. It doesn't sound like a wood tip, but it's kind of like somewhere in between a wood and a nylon. And sometimes you get more of a complex kind of sound out of your ride cymbal when you use these sticks. Now, of course, these are giant tips on these ones compared to like a lot of drumsticks out there. But actually, let me see, are the tips bigger than the 2B? They are a little bit fatter than the 2B, at least on the bottom of them. They're less of a bead tip and more flat in shape, but they're almost the same size, but they're slightly larger. So anyway, pretty cool. And I think what I'm going to do now is head over to my storage unit. I have a new storage unit, and I've shared my storage units many times on this drum vlog. And the new one where I moved into is especially creepy looking, and I figured it would look really cool recorded with this VHS camera. And so I wanted to head over there, and I had to do some things over there anyway, so I figured when I went over there, I would share it with you guys here on YouTube. Anyway, that'll be my next stop, so here we go. Okay, so I'm here inside the unit, and pretty creepy. Check it out. So I don't know if I told you guys yet, well I probably did in other videos, but not on this drum vlog series. I actually moved to Staten Island, and I got this storage unit here, and as you can see, it's much larger, and it is about half the price of what I was paying in Brooklyn. And geez, I don't know what all that racket is. And it's like almost 3 times the size. So one of the things I wanted to do here was switch out these heads on my Atomic Club Jam Flyer and put the hydraulics back on. I already did that on the rack tom, as you can see there, but I still have the one I put on the floor tom. I had these Chinese pinstripes on there for a while. They sounded good, but the nice thing about the hydraulics is they're so thick and they have the oil filled, you can kind of tune them lower than you would think you'd be able to on these tiny little drums. So I wanted to put those on there because I plan to use this kit as my basically live set pretty soon, early next year, just because it's so easy to move around and it's like a good complete set and it sounds really nice. So yeah, just wanted to swap them out. Alright, I got them both on there, and actually what I decided to do was put the pinstripe on the bottoms. And usually I don't like to put a used, head that I actually played on the bottoms, the resonant side. But these, they're very free of dents. Even though I did play them for several months, but they do have marks on them. But they were, they weren't dented at all, and they weren't like concaved or in any way. And this is just so much thicker than the stock Tama heads that were on there. These things are like paper, So again, I like having the thicker, heavier heads on these club jams, these little tiny club jams, because you can get a lower tone out of them. And I don't have any sticks here, so I wasn't able to hit them like full volume, but I could hit them with my fingers, and they probably sound pretty good. But once I won't know until I get it all set up. But I guess that'll happen whenever I gig out. So yeah. But that's pretty much it. I just came here just to do that. I didn't really have much else to do. And I kept hearing creepy sounds when I was here. Oh. Okay, I'm creeping myself out. I better get out of here. Look how far that goes down there. Creepy. Alright, let's get out of here. Alright, I'm back home. So I figured what I would do now is give you guys a walkthrough here of my E-kit. I've done this several times on this channel, but the reason why I want to do it again is because some things have changed and this is basically what I'm using with my band Snex right now. If you haven't checked out Snex yet, check us out. There's a bunch of videos already on my channel here, and we're going to be doing another one pretty soon. And that's the drum set. Well, I'll finish the story here after I tell you this. So what I have here is my PDP Encore. Let me back up so you can see the whole thing. This lens isn't exactly wide. So yeah, PDP Encore that I converted to electronic. Inside there's Drum Tech Pro triggers. I think that's what they're called. On everything, basically. The toms, I have single zone side mounted triggers there, and where's it? The one here, over here. And then on the snare I have the center mounted more fancy Drum Tech trigger. And then on the bass drum there's a single side mounted trigger too. You can't see it at all. Kick drum head, I've got the R-Tom black hole head, and then I've got some silent strike beaters on a Tama Iron Cobra 200 double pedal there. Heads are pretty generic, but these are 2-ply heads on the toms, except for the R-Tom head. And then the snare's a 3-ply head by a company that went out of business that, for the life of me, I can't remember the name of them, but they were great. These 3-ply heads were really awesome. You used to be able to get them on eBay, but you can't get them anymore, unfortunately. But this one has lasted me probably like 3 or 4 years already, so it's a great head. I even used it as a kick drum head for a while on my Tama Club Jam Flyer, the kit that I was just showing you guys in the storage unit, and that's what that mark is from, the beater. But yeah, it's still working great. Over here for my module, I've got Roland TD17, and this thing on top is a headphone amplifier. Now when we're in rehearsal, I use this headphone amplifier. Basically, I route back from my interface that's over there. I route back the audio coming from the interface. Me and Eduardo are plugged in there, then I route everything into here, and then send a headphone mix out to both of us that we can control independently here from this little mixer. So that's pretty nice. And then the module sounds, I'm kind of doing a mixture of internal sounds and sounds that I sampled and imported into the module. The ride sound that you hear on all those videos is actually my Peisty Color Sound 22-inch heavy ride. Combined, it is layered because basically when you import samples into these Roland modules, it's better to layer them with other sounds. That just makes them sound a little more realistic. The hi-hats, you really can't import your own hi-hat sounds in these. There's no way to get the open and close and all that stuff to work. It's just it's a limitation of the module. So you're pretty much stuck with the stock hi-hat sounds, but fortunately they sound pretty good. The toms are a mixture of my Ludwig Accent, which I made a video on, the $100 drum set. I sampled the toms, and they're blended with some internal sounds. The kick drum is a stock kick. I can't remember which one I used. The cymbals, the China cymbal that I have on the top of this crash over here is actually a sample that I got from my TD6 module, because I really liked the China sounds in the TD6, and I didn't quite like the China sounds in the TD17, so I basically sampled a lot of the sounds that I liked from the TD6, and I have them available, to import here. I imported several of them already, but that China sound is great. And then the crashes are, I think they're the heavy crashes that come stock on the TD17. I think that's what I'm using there. These are some Lemon 2-piece hi-hats, and this is a pretty recent acquisition. I made a video about these, and these things are phenomenal. I really love these hi-hats. I love all the Lemon stuff, the cymbals. This is a 16-inch Lemon, and it's about a 15-inch dual zone crash, and over here I've got an 18-inch ride, and yeah, they're just really nice. So over here to my right, this is another fairly new addition, and once again I've got videos on all this stuff as well. This is the Avatar PD708, which is the successor to the PD705. This thing having a hard time focusing. Come on, focusing on my hand or something. There we go. It's the successor to the PD705. It has way more memory and does a lot more stuff. If you're interested in learning all the details, check out that video. And I still have the manual down there because I need to look at it every now and then to figure out what I'm doing. But this is essentially the third member of the band. What I'm doing is creating loops with like bass, synths and like other stuff on them, and then I can control them. I can start and stop loops by hitting a pad, and if I hit another pad, it stops the loop. I explain all this in the other video of like how I did it. But this thing's really great. And then Eduardo, the guitar player, he's got, you know, like a pedal board with like loopers and stuff on it, octave pedals and all that stuff too. So we're doing a duo, and we're filling it out, I think, pretty well for just 2 people. And really what it is, I didn't want to use a laptop again, you know, or play to like a click track. So we're not using a click, not even here. I could though, but we're not. Haven't needed to, so I think I'm going to stick with it how it is. I like being able to, you know, it's just nice to not be totally locked into a grid, even though we're playing to loops. And yeah, the loops are on a grid, but you know, if I hit something a little bit later or sooner, then it's gonna, you know, it's going to basically start at that time. So everything's not totally rigid like if you're playing to a laptop. At first, when we first started the project, I hooked up my laptop and was thinking about doing like, you know, some Ableton stuff and some loops that way, but it just didn't feel right. I was tired of doing that kind of stuff, and I wanted something with like a more live feel, and you know, I didn't really want a laptop up on stage, and so that's what I came up with. First, I was using the PD705, and it worked good, but this 708 works like a million times better. So what I was talking about earlier in the haunted storage unit about the Club Jam flyer, when we play live, at least here in New York City, I'm probably going to use that Club Jam flyer because it's so tiny. I can move it around quite easily. And one thing with me is I absolutely hate playing house drum kits, like in venues. And granted, that thing is tiny, you know, it doesn't exactly sound like this, but it sounds really good. I mean, I have a lot of videos of me playing that kit, and you can get it to sound pretty darn big for being so tiny. But the whole reason why I want to do that is I want to have a very portable kit that I could take around to these New York City venues where they're not going to freak out if I'm bringing in my own drum set, because it's so small. You know, I could set it up in front of another drum kit. It really wouldn't be that big a deal. And you know, I may run triggers off of it too. I haven't decided yet. I have a TD5 module. Well, actually, I don't even have to do that. I could run triggers right into this guy back here, the PD708, because it has like 6 or 8 trigger inputs, I think, on it. So yeah, I mean, I could, if I wanted to, set up some triggers and run it all through the PD708 and get like, you know, some layered sounds that way. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to show you guys all this stuff. Check out Snex if you haven't already. Let me turn the camera around. Doing the selfie view here. I have to hold my hands so far back because the lens is not very wide. How can I get this? Okay, so yeah, check out Snex if you haven't already. And there's going to be another Demonic Sweaters album coming out in the beginning of 2025 as well. So check that out too. It's going to be called Under the East Moon. And a lot of the songs are already up here on YouTube. But there's going to be some new mixes and stuff of some of the other ones with some better drum sounds. And just, you know, I fine-tuned and polished it and stuff and got it the way that I really like it. But anyway, this is a drum vlog, episode number 30. And this thing is heavy. I need to set this down soon. And this is the VHS edition, and I think I'm going to use this camera for all of the drum vlogs this year, or at least as long as this thing will last. I'm just going to keep using it because I think it's really cool. And there's probably going to be a lot more videos made with this camera in general, just because I think it's pretty awesome. Oh, and if you're wondering how I get it on the computer, Amazon sells these things. Let me show you this. Amazon sells these little capture cards for very inexpensive. They work quite well. You can actually like just plug this into a PC, open up OBS, and just capture it like you would a webcam. And this, the other end of this cable, is one of these deals. It's like a 4-pole 1/8-inch connection, and this is what these old camcorders use to plug into the side. And the crazy thing is you can always find these in New York City, like 99-cent stores, like the Chinese 99-cent stores. I have no idea why they stock these. Like, it's such a specific, like, random cable, but they always have them. Like, I knew they would have it, but this camera didn't come with one. I was like, I'll just get it at the dollar store. And I went over there, and sure enough, there was like a whole stack of them. And actually, there was only a couple left, but they had them. And yeah, I don't know why, but they always have these cables at those 99-cent stores. It's kind of weird. But anyway, Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell icon. I'll see you all in the next video. Have a great day.